So what's up guys, it's Hira here by Quality, and welcome to my first video on Call of Duty Warzone MW3. Not sure if I'm gonna call it just Call of Duty Warzone or Warzone MW2, but this is now Warzone MW3 because it's been integrated with the MW3 engine, and as a result, there's definitely some new settings for you guys to use and to find, and that's what I'm here for you guys to kind of learn about. I'm gonna give you the best settings so you have the best aiming ability, lowest amount of recoil, much more fluid movement, and all little tips and tricks to help enhance your playstyle here on MW3 Warzone. So if you guys are excited to hear about these best settings possible and improve your gameplay here on Warzone, because I did pretty well here in the last year of Warzone 2, make sure you guys drop a like in the video, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to be uploading a ton of Warzone content on here as well as story bundle videos. So if you're interested in any of that or in my personality, then go ahead and subscribe. I hope we have a very great year together and hope you enjoy all the vibes on this channel. You're freaking awesome. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about best settings. So starting it off, I do play on controller. I don't play on keyboard and mouse, so find somebody else for keyboard and mouse settings. When it comes to the button layout, I love running bumper jumper tactical flipped because it allows me to press L2 to jump, and also X to use my tactical, and I use R3 to kind of, you know, drop shot or slide or dive or whatever the case is. And the reason why I play like this is because it allows me to, you know, just use my regular PS4 controller or PS5 controller or whatever controller you wear without paddles. Like, you don't need paddles or anything. This will allow you to jump shot and drop shot way more effectively. Might take you some adjusting to do, but once you get used to it, it really does help your gameplay style and really take advantage of the movement that's present in MW3 Warzone. So take your time. It took me like a week to kind of learn this back in 2015 when they first introduced this button layout setting back in Black Ops 3. And ever since then, I've been using it on every single Call of Duty, and it's been very useful, so try it out for yourself. And if you guys are wondering how to flip the button layout, you just go over here to where it says flip L1 and L2 and R1 and R2. Obviously, you can unflip it if you want, but that's how I play. Controller vibration is going to be off. I just don't feel like it's very necessary. Dead zone inputs. Now, this is a very cool one because this is actually something that's going to help your gameplay style a lot and help fix your controllers in a sense. So, what you want to do first, as you can see, I have, you know, 0 left stick min and right stick min. This is probably what you have at the moment. But if not, there's a way to kind of, you know, optimize your dead zones so you kind of know what dead zone to rock. So what you want to do first is obviously put test stick dead zone on, and as you can see from the bottom there on the X's and Y's, it does seem, you know, it appears to have some stick drift within my controller here. So you guys can see I'm not doing anything with my controller at all, and I am still having, you know, -2s and -1s and -4s there, right? So in order to get rid of this stick drift, what I need to do is that since it became like -4 more or less, I could put this all the way to 5 to kind of cancel it on the left stick, and on the right stick I'm also going to put it at 5. And now when I test out the test stick dead zone again, you can see there's no freaking stick drift. This is a fix to your stick drift temporarily, in a sense, if you have very slight stick drift, and this will allow you to be even more precise with your aim. Because you don't want to have any stick drift, you know, theoretically, because you want to be able to aim as accurately as possible, and that's what these dead zone inputs really help you with. And I think it's one of the best settings that they could have added here in Modern Warfare 3 Warzone, so definitely utilize that. It's very nice. Moving forward, we also got left triggers and right triggers. I just put this on 6 and 6 just because I'm kind of sticky with my fingers, and sometimes I'll automatically or accidentally throw a grenade of some sort. But if you want to have the most responsiveness to your triggers, just set them all the way to 0, and you won't have to worry about you know, any sort of delay with your trigger action in any sort of way. So up to you what you want to do. I'm gonna leave them at 5 or 6 or whatever the heck I had them before, just something a little bit to cushion myself. Next up, we got horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity, which I like at 8 and 8. It's the most optimal one for, you know, being able to aim fast enough to turn on people or to aim slow enough so that I'm more accurate across ranges. Obviously, the lower sensitivity you have, the easier it is to aim at people at farther ranges, but it might be harder to turn on somebody if somebody sneaks up behind you. And the opposite is true. If you go all the way to 20, then it's really easy to turn on people, but you might not have the best of aim at longer ranges. So obviously play what you want. I like being right in the middle because I'm able to control this with ease, but, you know, use what you want at the end of the day. Sensitivity multipliers all at 1, vertical aim axis standard, tactical stance sensitivity at 1. Aim response curve type is going to be dynamic because this gives you the stickiest aim assist. And if you're going to adjust the curve slope scale, just leave it at 1. You don't really got to mess with that. Standard and linear are nice, but dynamic gives you the stickiest aim assist. But obviously, use standard and linear if you want, if you feel that it's really going to help you. Just dynamic has been used by pro players, and I've been using it since Modern Warfare 2019. It has proven to be the best aim response curve type for me anyways. ADS sense, multiplier focus 1, transition timing instant, custom sensitivity per zoom, put this on. And for low zoom and 2x, 3x zoom optics, I have it at 0.9, so I can be a little bit more accurate at farther ranges with those types of zoom optics. But if I'm going to be using any zooms that are much higher, I put it at 1.20 because scopes are very slow and they take some time to adjust. So I want to have a little bit more speed in that sense, if that makes any sense. Target aim assist should be on, so I can have that sticky aim assist and, you know, make some people mad. Aim assist type should be on default or on Black Ops because that's when you have aim assist present in all situations. I heard precision is pretty good for sniping, but usually precision and focusing I don't really recommend because it's kind of inconsistent with your aim assist. Third person ADS correction type, assist. Motion sensor aiming I don't really deal with because that's like gyro behavior. Don't really mess with that. And then when it comes to gameplay here, we got automatic sprint off. People ask me, why do you have automatic move forward and sprint off? Because I want to be in full control of my character. Having automatic sprint will make me die to campers, especially because there's a lot of campers in Warzone. So you want to be able to fully control and turn on your enemies whenever possible. Tac sprint behavior, I have it on double tap. Grounded mantle, I have it on, but if you feel like you're grabbing onto things a little bit too quickly, you could also turn it off. I like having it on, even though it might screw me over in certain situations, just because when I have it off, I feel like the movement isn't as fluid. So up to you how you want to have that on. Airborne mantle off, ground mantle hang off, slide behavior. This one's an interesting one because now you actually can slide cancel extremely well. So some people like having only slides, so you can slide around the map a lot more effectively. But on Vondel, since Vondel is still here, it might be nice to just have tap to slide because in case you need to, you know, dive or whatever, you can do a little parachute thing off the roofs. So you can just hold the dive button, you can do tap to dive and then hold to slide, which is a little bit more awkward. You won't be able to slide cancel as easily. So it's really up to personal preference. I'm going to do tap to slide because I don't really rely on diving too much personally, but it's obviously up to you. Plunging underwater trigger, parachute auto deploy I have off, sprinting door bash on, ledge climb behavior mantle, slide cancel sprint on, aim down sight behavior hold. I think it's all default here if I'm not mistaken. Not really anything you got to mess with. Tac stance, if you want to have it on, you obviously have the default setting here, or you can turn it off. I find tac stance to be pretty useful in close situations, but not very necessary in my opinion. Interact / reload behavior. When you're playing Warzone, do prioritize interact. I have it on tap to reload because I've been playing multiplayer. On multiplayer, you want tap to reload. But on Warzone, do prioritize interact. This will make it so that you can loot items way faster. Instead of holding the button necessary for looting, you just press it and you'll be able to loot a lot more quickly. So prioritize interact is the godsend for Battle Royale. Armor play behavior, you gotta have this on apply all. If it's apply one, you're doing it bad. Have apply all, that way you can armor while running, which is very useful in Warzone, especially with the new movement mechanics in this game. ADS stick swap off, backpack control. This is very interesting. You can do directional buttons or stick. It might be useful to use stick. I have to, you know, still play the game a bit more to see what I'm used to, but try stick out and see if it actually helps you. That's a very nice option to have. Completed ammo switch on, C4 detonation grooved, manual fire behavior press. If you're running burst guns, you can actually put this on hold and you can actually automatically burst weapons, which is pretty interesting. But I just leave it on press because my trigger finger is already really nice. But that's an option for you if you're using burst guns like the GG58 or the FR556. All of this is kind of default, I believe, and that is it. So let's move on to my PC graphics settings now. And I will go over console graphics settings after going through this section. So let's keep it moving. So now when it comes to my PC graphics settings, there's my settings up top in case you guys are curious. We got a 3080 Ti. You know, on the screen, you guys are probably seeing my full specs right now. Got nothing too crazy. Running a 1440p monitor and 144 hertz. And obviously, this is all going to depend on your sort of stuff. When it comes to NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency, I recommend on. Some people like on plus boost. Some people have it off. For me, I would find that most PCs run better when you have this on. So obviously you can experiment if you need to, but in most cases you should be fine just having it on. Nothing else necessary. Eco mode preset, I have it on custom, or you can have it on low consumption. Efficiency is nice if you want to as well, but I just have it on custom. VSync off on both cases here. Custom frame limit is 150, 60, 30 for me, and focus mode it off. Next up, we got our quality settings, and for render resolution, I actually have it on 90 at the moment. I might bump it up to 100. The reason why I have it on 90 is because I want to get a little bit more extra frames, and if I do it any higher, you know, I am playing on 1440p, so I'm not necessarily losing too much quality. Like, I'm still going to be looking at a pretty clean screen. But if you're running on 1080p, it might be better for you to run on 100, you know, because you at least want to be able to see your opponents. So for me, I have it on 90 so I get a little bit extra frames, but it's all going to depend on your build or whatever the case is, you know, your PC build. Upscale and sharpening, put this on FX cast. You do not want to put it on anything else. FX cast strength 90. VRAM scale target 80, but if you have problems with your PC or whatever, put it to 90 and maybe your PC will feel better, but I've been having no problems on 80. Variable rate shading off. Texture resolution low. You know, you can put it very low if you need even more, you know, graphics or FPS, but I have it on low just because I want the game to look nice for you guys for YouTube. Texture, filter, anisotropic, pretty much the same rules. Normal, just so the game looks a bit nicer, but you can put it on low to kind of save some frames and get higher frames. Depth of field off, detail quality low, particle resolution normal, just because I want you guys to see some of the tracer rounds that I have. Bullet impacts on, persistent effects on, shader quality low. On the max texture streaming, definitely have this off, and same with streaming quality low. Shadow quality, very low. Screen space shadows off, ambient occlusion off, screen SSR off, static reflection quality low, tessellation off. Terrain memory, you want to have this on max so you can look at far range objects a little bit more easily. Volumetric quality low, deferred physics quality off, weather grid volume is low, water quality, wave wetness. Now when it comes to field of view, I like having it at max FOV because this allows me to see pretty much the entire screen with a lot more ease. And the ADS field of view for me is going to be independent. A lot of people like affected, most people, YouTubers will tell you that, but the reason why I run independent is because most of the time when you're ADSing, you want to be looking at something and focusing in on something, right? And I like independent because it makes your FOV not 120 when you're ADSing, but pretty much 80 FOV. And this will make it so that objects look a lot bigger to you when you ADS, because you're trying to focus in on something, and thus you'll be able to locate targets and be more on point when you aim at people from a far range. Because you are going to be playing Warzone with these settings, this is going to help you majorly. So I recommend independent. You can run affected if you want to keep that 120 FOV, but it might be harder for you to hit targets if they're very far away. So obviously, everybody's got their own personal preference, but I like independent. Weapon field of view wide, just so the guns look as small as possible and you can see more of your screen. Third person field of view 90, vehicle field of view wide. World motion blur and weapon motion blur both got to be off. They screw you over if they're on, so just don't have them on, because if you're turning and you just see blur instead of somebody in a corner, then you're screwing yourself over that way. Film grain 0, first person and third person camera movement, have them at least 50%. Don't have it on default or less, because this kind of affects the shakiness of your camera, whatever the case is. So have these on at least 50%. And then this is all kind of personal preference. And for flashbang, obviously have it off or on, depending if you want to be blinded by light or blinded by the darkness. But now let's move over to my PS5 and show you guys my console graphics settings. So if you're on console, you can apply it wherever you want. And now here I am on my console settings, and keep in mind you can apply this to any of the consoles basically. We got world motion blur, weapon motion blur off, field grain 0, depth of field off, fidelity FX chaos on, and make sure it's set to 90 to give you kind of the best quality to kind of look out at opponents. And also on the matte texture streaming should be off. I kind of already said that earlier on, I believe. Eco mode preset, I just like having this off. 120 Hz refresh rate. If you're on PS5 or one of the Xbox Series consoles, make sure this is on. If it's not on, or if you're not able to utilize 120 FPS, you know, obviously have it off. But if you're able to use this, use it, because it really makes a difference in your gameplay. You know, you need to make sure you have a, you know, a 144 Hz monitor or 120 Hz monitor, and you'll be able to use this. Field of view 120, independent and wide, for reasons I've already stated in the PC graphics settings, in case you guys are curious. First person and third person camera movement at least 50%. Inverted flashbang off or on, depending on what you want. And then the rest of this is personal preference. But if you guys need any explanation, go to the PC graphics settings for more explanations on this. But now let's go ahead and go back to my PC and show you guys my audio settings that work for PC or any of the consoles. Now that we're back on my PC, let me show you guys my audio settings. Audio mix is PC speaker. I heard headphones bass boost is really nice as well as home theater. So if you're on console, use one of those, or even headphones. But since I'm on PC, I do recommend PC speaker. Master volume, this is what we gotta focus on. You want to have this as high as possible. I had it on 100, but the game was like super loud at some point, and I don't want my ears to bleed, so I have it on 80. But you do want this pretty loud. And when it comes to the divisions of the volume, gameplay music volume, keep that as low as possible. You don't really want to need to hear music when you're gaming. Dialogue volume is going to be at 50, so I can hear some callouts if necessary. FX volume is going to be all the way to 100, so I can hear footsteps, glass breaking, somebody reloading. This is going to be the most important part of your audio so that you can actually hear your opponents and not be surprised by them if they're not running something like dead silence or whatever the case is. So definitely have this on. Voice chat volume is going to be 60, so I can at least hear my opponents if I make them rage from proximity chat, whatever the case is. Cinematic music volume is going to be at 10, and yeah, definitely want to focus on your audio settings there. Next up, what do we got? I think, does anything else matter here? Subtitles. Typically, if I was, if I cared about subtitles, I would use them. But because I don't want to have subtitles blocking, my gameplay footage because I'm a content creator, that's why I don't have it on. But if I was just, if I didn't do YouTube and I wanted to perform at the best of my level, I like having subtitles on just for reading callouts instead of hearing them. It's just you have a better response time reading something instead of hearing it, which is always sweet to see. And then everything else here, reduce tinnitus sound. I like having this on just in case somebody flashes me. I don't like the sound of that. And yeah, that's it for the audio settings. So let's go ahead and finish things off with the interface settings. Now, when it comes to the interface settings, once again, we already went to subtitles. Color customization, you can change the colors on whatever you want here. You go really in depth here, but I just kind of leave things on default personally. HUD bounds is right there. Minimap shape, I like it on square so that I see as much surface area on my minimap as much as possible. This allows me to see red dots if people are shooting. And in case you didn't know, red dots actually work on this game. So have as much surface area as possible. Do not run circle around. That is not the way to go. Minimap rotation on, horizontal compass on, crosshair static so I can have a little bit less shakiness when I'm obviously aiming with my gun here. Center dot on, and I want it on largest so I can really pinpoint my accuracy on opponents. And then everything else here is, I believe, personal preference. Telemetry, I just have the first 3 on so I can see how much frames I have and see if the lobby is lagging or whatever the case is, or if I'm lagging. And then everything else here is optional. But there you guys go. The best settings for Warzone MW3. Let me know what you guys think of Warzone so far, and hope these settings help you guys. Definitely expect some videos, along the way. I'm not going to be the most consistent, but I'm at least going to try to have something like every other day. I just want to do the best of myself on this channel, and hope you guys enjoyed the Warzone classes and gameplays to follow. You guys are the absolute best, and thank you for listening to me. You're freaking amazing.